myself. Let me, by the way, start my video to start with. Can you see me?
Raghu.
Yeah.
Yes, Raghu.
So welcome to the sessions. Let me introduce myself. My name is Raghu. So you can call me as Raghu. I'm having around close to 2+ years of, 2 decades of years experience in the industry. I'm a pre-sales guy and consultant to training for the last 8 years. Conducted around close to 400 classroom sessions, taken around close to 40 to 50 corporate sessions for the last 5 to 6 years. And I'm taking all these corporate trainings online since 2020 due to this pandemic. I think you might be knowing. So we're all working from home. So otherwise, I'm a DevOps specialist. Starting from 2011, I guess 2010 and 2011, I started working in this field. So otherwise, I started career in 99 as a Agile workgroup server. Later moved on to Windows and Linux. So that's pretty much about my work experience. So when I started into DevOps in 2010 and 2011, it was actually a digital collaboration kind of team. It was. So we were not calling it as a DevOps kind of stuff. So it was a different name. For a period of time, it was changed to DevOps. So we all discussed that. So so what I need from you, so I just need a couple of things from you, all of you. So I just need from which domain you are into and how many years of experience you have overall. So this will help me to understand so what kind of crowd I'm talking to, so that accordingly I can take some those use cases and examples. Yeah. So yeah, any one of you can
Hey
start.
Raghuveer, this is Satish here.
Yeah. Hey Satish.
Hey Raghuveer, this is Satish here. Can you hear me?
Yes, Satish, I can hear you. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Hey Raghuveer, your voice is a little low. If you can increase the volume, that would.
How's it? Okay, 1 second. Let me check in from my end.
Sure.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better now. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah, thanks Satish for correcting me. Yeah, so you can start introducing yourself, anyone. So I just need only a few things. Probably it will be difficult for me to remember names in the first day itself. So you can skip your name. Just let me know which domain you're working and how many years of experience you have. So if you're okay with that, you can just start introducing yourself.
All right, Raghu. So I'm from the full stack development. I have 8+ years of experience into it.
Hi. So this is Rakesh, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Rakesh. Yeah. So so when you say full stack, like so which domain you are into?
JavaScript domain, like.
JavaScript. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome, Rakesh.
Thank you.
Hi Raghu, myself Yogesh. So I'm also a full stack developer and 8+ year of experience. Usually mean and MERN technologies we work.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, Yogesh. Welcome to the sessions.
Thank you.
Hi Raghu.
This is Kali.
Yeah, Kalpana, go ahead.
Yeah, you can try.
Okay, hi,
Yeah,
I'm Mani and I'm from DevOps background and I have 6+ years of experience.
Yeah, hi, Manny. So when you say DevOps, so So which domain you are into? So when I mean, you are into the CI/CD part or configuration management?
Yeah, majorly the CI/CD part. I've worked on Jenkins, GitLab, Azure DevOps, Azure majorly.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Imani. Welcome.
Hello, this is Kalavati. I'm having 2.5 years of experience. Even I'm having DevOps part.
Hi, Kalavati. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Raghuvi.
Vikram.
Yeah, this is Vikram. I have overall years of experience, 3.5 years of experience in DevOps and AWS Cloud, and this CI/CD part, Jenkins and Azure DevOps.
Great. Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome, Vikram.
And I predominantly worked on Linux administration as well.
Oh, good to know about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else we have?
Hi Raghu. I have around 1.5 years of experience in full stack development in Angular, React, and Node.js domain on MySQL.
Okay. Hi. Yeah. Thank you. Welcome to the sessions.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi Raghu, this is Hari. So I have 4 years of experience in DevOps, especially in the Docker and Kubernetes.
Okay. Into the container part. Okay. Yeah. Nice to know about that. Yeah. Welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Hi Raghu, myself Imani. I have experience in Python development and in few Jenkins tools, like in Jenkins, like creation of jobs.
Okay. So you said Python, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Welcome, Himani.
Raghu, this is Hamza. I'm a data science consultant. I have around 5.5 years of experience. All enough, fine.
Into data science?
Yes.
Nice. Yeah. Welcome to the session.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right. So thank you everyone for introducing. Hope everyone introduced about the domain and all this stuff. So looks like we have a very good a mixed background. Some of you are from development background. Some of you are already working in DevOps, CI/CD part, and as well as container part. And also some of you are from different domain. Like data science and all that stuff. So what we will do, I'll try to introduce this DevOps to you and the evaluation of the DevOps, just in case, if you are new to this domain, new to the industry, this will just help you to clear all your questions and all of those things. Anyway, so entire my sessions, I would like to also mention few things here. So we will try to have interactive sessions. So we'll share our experience and then so if anyone want to share some kind of a problem and solutions they have provided, anything, for example, from moving from legacy environment to CI/CD, and then from there moving on to container part and then cloud part. So feel free to share your experience. So it will be more interesting because everyone are from different domains, so they'll be having their own viewpoints and thoughts on that. So this will be that kind of session. So, and also most of my sessions will be practical sessions. So 70% of the sessions will be practical sessions. So we will be taking one cloud platform, so AWS again. So wherein we will be exploring these DevOps tools and technologies. So for example, like installation, configuration, writing some let's say take some cookbooks, recipes, or a container part, Docker file. Everything we will try to do on the Linux machines. So anyway, I'll talk about all the prerequisites and all these things about so what you need from your end so that you can also take those assignments which I'll be giving it to you. So this will help you to place you in a very good and strong positions so that you understand those tools and technologies. Parallelly, you spend some time and get those hands-on exercises so that both will go side by side. Okay, so when you Google, we'll be knowing what you mean by DevOps and all these things, evaluation of DevOps. So it's not that great, but I'll give you my own explanation. So we'll take one use case, BFSI sector, banking finance sector. Late 90s, I guess, 95, 96. That is when I think in India, computerization started with mostly with banking sector. So how the industry used to work in this model is that those guys, the development companies and all these things, so they representative. So mostly we call as like BDM guys, business development guys. So they used to contact the so and so heads in the banking sector and understand the requirement, come with some timeline. Saying that, okay, so this is the software you need. So we will develop the software for you. This is like the time we need, 6 months or 8 months, 12 months, whatever the time frame. And then they'll go back to the office. They'll download that to their leads and the managers, the technical managers. So mostly the Java guys and all that stuff. In those days, it was only different languages we used to have. Java and .NET. .NET was not evolved, but yeah. So that was all about them. I'm talking about late 90s. And then, after 6 to 8 months, they used to take those software in a floppy or a CD. They used to go to the banking premises across the region, install their in their machines. In case if they don't have machines, hardware again, they have to procure the hardware, right? And they used to set up the LAN. And then they used to train how to use this software to all the banking employees. So they used to have this LAN connectivity and they used to have one server in strong room. So that is how the model it is. Now, the limitations with that is that any changes in the software is not allowed, the CO and all this stuff. In case if the client wants that, no, I need this screen or the functionality change and all these things, again, it's a change order. So cost will be involved, time will be changing. There's so many things used to be the arguments and the parameters into that model. So it was not really meeting the requirement towards 2000, I guess. So when this kind of requirement was increasing in the industry, not only banking sector, the other industries, so the manufacturing and all this stuff, everybody was looking to go online and then develop some softwares to reduce the human interventions in their business operations, etc. Most of these software development companies were looking for different kind of development cycle model. So we call it like Sdlc model, software development cycle model. So a lot of Sdlc models evolved. One is that what you call waterfall model, and then later Agile came. So the list is very big, so I don't want to get into that. What is exactly and all these things. So this is what a typical model. So we used to use in 90s, right? Now the C program, build that, test that, probably write some small script to copy to the environment later, or take a floppy or a CD. So test those executable production server, release those stuff, right? So this is like sequential, and whereas we already mentioned, and it's not non-iterative. So when I say non-iterative, what do you mean by that? When we develop that thing, and then when we test, and if you find like some bugs and all these things, again, or some enhancement, some improvement, some new features has to be added. So there is no mechanism to share the feedback to the previous stage up to the developers and all those things. It's all like in the waterfall model where we gather the requirement, do the designing, implement, test, deploy, and later do the maintenance in case if there is an application support engineering is needed. So when Agile in 2000, it was like, so some of you all are most of you might have heard about this model. wherein it is the same stuff, but it is in a cycle model. You have a requirement gathering, and then plan, design, development, release, track the monitor, again go to the stage. So cycle it is to have, wherein now we have the development environment, we have a QA environment, probably build and release engineers, and then production support engineering. So different engineerings, different environments we used to have, different models we used to have. So one of that model really picked in the industry is Agile SDLC process. So it's a very big topic, but again, let's not discuss about Agile into more. So last 2 decades, even now, the software industry is dedicatedly using this Agile because this is the most successful and proven SDLC in the market as of now. Now, yeah, fine. Now what is actually the DevOps then? How it is it next version of Agile or what? No, not really. So the limitations of Agile or so that we will talk about little later in the coming slides. But so when Agile came into the practice by all this leadership, a lot of open source tools evolved to support this particular Agile model. So one is Git, version controlling, because we're just now discussing, right? We have a development, we have a QA, we have stage and productions, and then developers used to release those patches in those versioning controlling so that they can maintain those versions. And also Hudson, later, of course, it was renamed as Jenkins. It's again reduce that human intervention in releasing those patches and deploying into the production environment or non-prod environment. So they want to automate that process. So Hudson was released. Later, Jenkins one came into the picture, renamed because of some corporate changes happened, right? The Sun Microsystem was acquired by Oracle, and there was a difference of opinion. And they don't want to continue Hudson as open source. So that is when 2010, so it was renamed as Jenkins. So, and also Selenium, which is again an open source QA tool, which will actually really help into the CI/CD system to automate this functionality testing and regression testing. And then again, JMeter, load runner, and also to track all these things. There are some Zira ticketing tool, Bugzilla came into the stuff, mostly open source tool. And at the same time, commercial sector, we have this Microsoft Visual Studio, IDE. List is very big. So all these open source or any tools were evolved to support this Agile model. So what is actually this, this CA was helping them is that whenever there is when build starts, it automatically the developers will check in that code into the versioning controlling system, and wherein we have this CI/CD system which automatically do this particular unit test and share the feedback to the so and so mechanism. Once it is passed, you'll go that to the one kind of environment. You do about this. It really, like, what is exactly the DevOps here is that it's not a tool or a technology. It is just not even in a methodology, I would say. It's a cultural shift. Earlier, we were doing all these things manually, and now using the CI model, one of the principles in DevOps, what it is that you connect all these components which were evolved as part of Agile, so that reduce the human intervention and automate this process to meet the fast demand from the end users, and at the same time consistency has to brought into this model. So what do you mean by consistency? They should not, because we're all human beings prone for errors. When we do some testing, when we do some deployment, there are chances that we miss some here and there, and then it go into some other environment, or it could be some what do you call it, the prerequisites messing in the production environment. Let's say Java 1.7 is not there. I'm just giving you a very extremely simple example. So this kind of problem were addressed with this model CA, because leadership, what actually really they want, they don't want their team to do the repetitive task continuously. So for example, deployment, for example, doing some testing. So they want to automate this process so that the team can now get some bandwidth and or use some value add to their existing system, so that now they can automate this entire process so that no human intervention is needed. So that's what the leadership want, right? Why? Because the competitors are right now releasing their products into the market at a pace which actually is required by the end users. So to meet that, they want to automate this process. So DevOps really help that particular stuff. So when we have this agile, right, what we used to have, we used to have a operations team. So when I say operations team, the people who manages a cloud in a platform or a on-prem environment. It could be a Linux machines or Windows machines or a database servers or middleware administrator or web operations guys, networking guys, different ITL-based guys. So these are all operations guys. On the other side, we used to have like developers, including the QA engineers and all that stuff. Again, I don't want to get into that UI and all that stuff. So they're different, again, segments are there in that area. End users is to talk to the developers. Operations guys, these are like, again, the stakeholders here. And the development team is to lead the product because they own the product. They own the enhancement, bug fixes and all this thing. Operation guys used to follow ITL model. Might have heard about it, what I'm talking about, So you can't do the deployment, production deployment without any downtime or a change window or a change ticket. So because the developers don't understand, how it has to maintain. So there's a friction between these two teams, the development and operations guys. So in 2010, I guess, Belgium, one consultant, Patrick, so he conducted an international conference. So he invited all the developers and operations guys and asking, hey, what are the common issues you are facing? Okay, one is this blame game. You might be seeing this thing, right? Developers used to develop these products in their local machines, laptop machines or whatever. And as soon as it goes to the production, the application will stop working. Right? And then the developer says, hey, it was working in my local machine and then it is not working in your environment. That definitely it is your environment issues. At the same time, the operation guy says that, hey man, it was having all the, whatever is required with the application, it was working fine. As soon as we do the deployment, your code is having some issues. That is the reason it was actually stopped working. You blame game and all this thing. So this is the friction between these teams. So the Belgium consultant in the conference, he asked these questions. Hey, how are you addressing these issues? So how are you automating this process? Now, everybody was having the same pain. I mean, what are the challenges we have? And they don't understand each other and all this stuff. So some guys, shared the SMEs, the industrial experts shared that we automated this process with CI process. And they discussed about the advantage of CI process. So that the development started getting feedback daily on their failures, if there is any code changes, so which will reduce the faster development, increase the faster development cycle and all this stuff. So and it is now streamlined. So all those roles and responsible defined. So these are some of the best practices shared in this particular international conference in 2010, I guess. So the conference name, I don't know where it was conducted, but it was Development and Operations Conference. Development and Operations Conference. So, and also they shared the automation stuff, which we have done in the some industry experts development is what all in that particular one later to continue this and called created a Twitter account called DevOps. So that is when exactly this DevOps actually surfaced in the industry. So people, a lot of people ask me that, what do you mean by DevOps? So as an engineer, do I need to learn about operations? Or as a developer, do I need to learn about ops stuff, or vice versa? It is really not that. So, it was actually basically addressing the problems that you were facing in your day-to-day operations, so that you streamline that process, putting some quality into the table by automating the process, and bring some consistency and also quality in releasing to the different environment, so that you track all these fixes, you patch all this to the applications platform, avoid the dependency issues, and bring these two teams together so that they work as a single unit to deliver or to meet the business organizations. So this is what we are doing right now. Everybody, there's a lot of traction of DevOps now from then onwards. So a lot of people started adopting this DevOps here, which actually really reduce the downtime of the production, increase the SLA uptime and all this stuff. And also, if anything goes wrong with the pipeline, they used to get the notifications. Everything is automated, monitored. Right? So this is what happened in the industry. Excuse me. So, let's not get into so much detail here, in case if you know or if you don't know, but very high level. So this continuous delivery we used to hear, and then we used to hear this continuous integration, and then continuous deployment here. So when I say continuous integration, you're basically connecting all these stages. So when I say stages, from delivery to releases. So using version, meeting, version controlling, automating the acceptance and all this stuff. And then when I say continuous deployment, take one, let's say job in Jenkins, let's say. So you created a job to do the deployment in a staging environment or a production environment. We call it as continuous deployment. And when I say continuous delivery, you connect all these second pipelines, do the development deployment, and then do the QA, do the staging, and then finally go to the production. So the product is now released and ready to use by the end users without any human interventions. So again, functional testing, regression testing, everything has to be automated. We call it like continuous delivery. Not all the companies and all the organizations used to follow this continuous delivery, but mostly people follow this continuous deployment. Easy to automate the process. So so this is all about a little bit about the DevOps and differences between all that stuff. Now, what are the changes happen to this model here now? So the changes happen is that now we have this what you called container also came into the picture, cloud came into the picture, and we also have hybrid environment. So when I say hybrid environment, so some machines can be bare metal machines or a VM machines or some cloud machines, or it could be a Linux or Windows. It is immaterial to me. I'm leading this team, and then in my company, in my team, I need to find out the entire team what kind of tools and technologies we are using. Now to automate this process wherever we are doing manually, what are the tools which is required to adopt by my company? So that is what actually now every company is doing. Identify the gap. So the skill sets what we have and what is required by the industry. Upskill this guys and then automate this process. So now like that's from leadership point of view, and at the same time as an engineering point of view, and we're all like engineers here. So we probably from different backgrounds. So one of you might be a developer, one of you might be a operations guys. So one might be not having any what do you call a scripting background or programming background. Fine, like it is immaterial. Try to learn these tools. You might be working in different domains. So or if you were probably working on a QA background and all these things. So you really don't know how their systems works and all this stuff. And then development also, how to automate this process. So we have seen that enough and few full stack developers also there here. So how do you automate this process? So I want to talk to the operations guys to create an API which will talk to the other stuff, and then automate this process and release that stuff on demand. And as soon as check-in happens to the version control mechanism, delivery has to be happen at the end by passing through all the stages. So that's what really we have to think. And so these are some of the advantages of having this CD process. So what do you mean by shorter TTM? Time to market a product is now reduced. So that's what the business need, right? Because you really no need to involve and talk to the each and every team to accelerate the speed and automate the process and all this stuff. So the entire system is ready. No need to raise a ticket and all this stuff. And then shorter release cycles. So you don't need to wait for a window to release a product now, including production I'm talking about. Within a downtime, without any downtime, we can do the production releases. So that is the one more stuff. And then also fully automating pipeline so that now we can focus on actual product rather than working in all this stuff, which will not bring any value add to the business. At the same time, yeah, always there will be a scope for improvement in our entire pipeline, entire system. To take the feedback by the engineers or the end users or all the stakeholders and correct all those stuff so that you take to the next level. So that's what the team has to do now. So definitely visibility. So all the reports will be available with all the stages. So we can track all those stuff. And then, so the entire meeting the organization goal, build the right product and build the right product rightly, which is all this is achieved through this kind of, CD process. Yeah. So the problems also now solved. Yeah. So this is probably some of you already might be faced in your career at one point of time. Even I faced a lot of times. Right? I still remember when I was working with one organization. I think it was NBCU. So we used to have this problem. So we used to have a web operations guys, SSO team, single sign authentication database team, middleware administrators, everybody. And then as soon as any production outage starts, everybody jots a call. And the first thing we used to say that, hey, the problem issue is not with us. Our environment is very stable. We really don't know where is the issue, but there is an outage happening here, right? So and suddenly application starts working, and nobody comes forward saying that issue was with my end and we fixed it. But it's all like blame game. I've seen many a times in the last decade prior to DevOps. I'm talking about. Yeah. So all the problems and solutions are there in this DevOps. So very high level, what is DevOps? It's a software development and delivery process that emphasizes communication and collaboration between product management, software development, and operation professionals. So how do we do that? It supports by automating and monitoring this entire process of software, integrating, testing, deployment, and infrastructure changes as well by establishing a cultural and environment where building, testing, and releasing software can happen rapidly, frequently, and more reliably. Yeah, so a lot of theory behind the DevOps, but otherwise, yeah, this picture will help you. So we have a development team, QA team, operation team. So this particular union, so here we call it like DevOps, where everyone is involved. So you will be doing your own core work. You'll be doing operations work. You'll be doing QA work and all those things. But again, you'll be working as a single unit to automate this entire process, unlike the previous stuff. Now, what are the tools needed? So this is a very big question. It actually varies from business to business. So we have a unique requirement. Some of you might be using Chef. Some of you might be using Ansible in configuration management. Or some of you might be using what you call a monitoring tool called Nagios, or some of you might be using Neuralink SaaS based, or it's an on-prem environment. So the tools, don't get into those at all. First of all, first we need to identify what is really required. Now you need to do R&D and identify which tool is needed for this particular purpose, which will fit into our system, and then start using those tools. So yeah, these are some of the categories. So for code development, review source code, SCM tools, code margin is required, building process. We have a lot of build tools available, testing, packing, releasing, configuring infrastructure, configuration management, then monitoring. Of course, one more thing also came nowadays, a lot of traction, containerizations. So we'll talk about all these things, so which will represent the widely adopted the tools and technologies by the industry across the world. So at this stage, I think we have learned what is DevOps. Let's and how it is evolved and all this stuff. So any questions on that before we jump into our business? No questions?
Raghu, your voice is very quite low.
Oh, is it Satish? Yeah.
No, Yogesh.
Oh, Yogesh. Listen, 1 second. I don't know why. What happened? Let me change the port otherwise. Just trying to stop video to see, if there's any bandwidth issue. So is it better now?
Yes, Raghu, it is better now. I believe it is a bandwidth issue.
Oh, is it? Okay. I just stopped video. Yeah.
Okay, great. No, yeah, video is fine. We don't need it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's get into the prerequisites for this sessions. And then I think most of you might be knowing the table of content, like, what are the topics which we are going to discuss. But anyway, I'll just summarize, and then what is the prerequisites which we required from our sessions point of view. So as I said, all my sessions are mostly practical sessions. So 70-30 is the ratio. Just like I'll introduce a tool and technologies, and then we'll get into the practicals. So I'll be trying to share a lot of exercises and assignments also, not immediately, but as we progress in our sessions. So, and also everyone also required to have one AWS account. I think some of you already working in AWS platform, but I'll also will show you today, demonstrate that in case if you don't have an account, how to create an account. And then we will try to use some free tier eligible services there. So there will be no commercials involved. So don't worry about that. So mostly we'll be using free tier services there. But anyway, so because I have to create an AWS account, and then we will be using some AWS services. In the process, you will be well versed with your AWS console also. Yeah, that's an advantage for you. So at least you'll be knowing what is what and all this stuff in AWS. And then once we understood this, all this required services, how to use in AWS, then we will start with building some environment in AWS. So 3-tier architectures using some services, let's say EC2 machine, and then some load balancers. And then manually, we will try to build an applications inside the environment. So we'll not automate anything. So in the process, we will try to install some web servers from scratch. Again, when I talk about web servers, what I will do, I'll introduce you to the different web servers available in the market, and then different ways of installation, source code installation, RPM installations, and then how to integrate that with application server in the background. So this is what we will try to discuss. And then we'll take some sample code, and then we will try to build manually using some build tools. Manually, we will set up the applications. So that everyone we will try to do that together in their own AWS account. So once we done that thing, then we'll be knowing the problems, the pain problems that how difficult it is to build manually. So then we'll try to get into the automating process. So we'll start with probably configuration management tools. So initially I'll start with Chef, and then I'll also give you a little overview on Puppet as well. We'll not spend so much time on there. Then we'll get into Ansible. I will try to discuss difference between this configuration management tools over there. And then later we'll get into this version controlling mechanism systems like Git, GitHub, and then build Maven, Jenkins. And then we'll spend some very good time in Jenkins, that how to create some pipelines, and then using some plugins and using some groovy scripts, and then how do we integrate with Ansible, Chef also into that particular pipeline. That will be the very high level I'm talking about. So we'll try to create some projects in the Jenkins. So and then we'll get into the monitoring part. So we'll take some one monitoring tool. Manually, we will try to install and then configure some monitoring checks, and then we'll develop our own monitoring stuff, components, Nagios from scratch. And then how do we handle those events? So how do you automate the process? So this is what we will try to discuss in the monitoring point. Then we'll move on to the one of the container pod called Docker. So wherein we will try to discuss about Docker topics such as introduction to the Docker images, containers, building those images, scaling them, and then Docker's cluster, Docker Swarm, set up those stuff, integrate that with your Jenkins. Then we'll get into the topics. The final topic is called Kubernetes. Of course, in the process here, in case if I miss any topic, don't worry. Yeah, we'll be covering all those topics, which will help you to create what kind of confidence in understanding this DevOps tools and technologies. So very high level, so that will be our journey in the sessions. And so I hope everybody is fine with this thing. And in case if you are using any laptop and all this thing, make sure you have open internet access as well as one AWS account. So let me start with AWS, just in case if you already know what do you mean by AWS, all these things, just bear with me. So this is for the people who are new to this platform. For them, it will be very useful because they might have heard about all these things, cloud computing and etc. But this will be helping you just to create some foundation on the AWS part. So on-demand delivery IT resources, we call as cloud computing pay-as-you-go model. So it's like you use any electric meter and all this stuff, right? We pay postpaid, prepaid, whatever. Based on that, we will pay those services. So similarly, in the industry, we have these different models. One is public model, private model, hybrid cloud model. You might have heard about these things, but what is exactly these models here? Take one picture just to give you an idea. So in case, if you're talking about a private cloud, so what do you mean by that is, I have my own data center. I means as a company I'm talking about. I have my own data center, and it is not connected to internet. It's not publicly accessible and all these things. It's within the office network. It is accessible. So yeah, why are we saying cloud? Yeah, because we are trying to use some tools to maximize the utilization of the resources. When I say resources, computing, storage. I'm talking about all this stuff. And the other side, we are seeing one, public cloud here. Now, what do you mean by public? Infrastructure is set up by some XYZ company. It can be a company called like, Amazon, or it can be Azure. It can be Google Cloud or Alibaba. List is very big. So they have their own infrastructure configured and then installed and set up and managed by them in different parts of the world. And this particular data centers is public. Why? Because they have created one portal to access their infrastructure. So like Amazon has created Amazon console. You go ahead and create an account and start using their infrastructure. Inside that website, they have everything. All the services are available, such as storage, computing, you name it, it is available. So that is a public cloud services. And then sometimes what will happen, the business will be using hybrid model. So when I say hybrid model, some of their applications will be hosted on their private cloud, private network, or on-prem environment. Some of those services also will be using the public services. So for example, I have my own database service running in a private network, but in case if I'm running out of space, I probably will be use some storage is available in the cloud, managed by some different company. So we call that model as like a hybrid model. So this will give you one good idea about so the private, public, and all that model. So we also hearing these words in the cloud part, IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS services. I'll be using these many times in our sessions. So just would like to clarify what are all these things. If you don't know, I mean, if you know, yeah, just bear with me. So abbreviation of these services is infrastructure as a service, IaaS, PaaS is like platform as a service, and SaaS is a software as a services. So these are the abbreviations. We'll take one example. Traditionally, we used to buy our own servers or infrastructure, and in our own data center, we used to host all this stuff, including web app and database or any other servers. We own the networking, we own this hardware and these databases, applications, runtime, everything. We manage depreciation cost, AMC cost, everything is we will own and we will be spending on that particular stuff traditionally. But when we start using these cloud services, so again, we have 2-3 options, right? One is to start with IaaS. So wherein let's say I'm using Amazon services. I will use Amazon network storage and virtualization, everything. But I'll be installing my own database, my own runtime and applications on that thing. The advantage is, so all these particular services which are managed by vendors, if anything goes wrong with these things, I'm not responsible. So what I'm doing, I'm actually shifting this risk to the vendors. So now I'm relatively relaxed. I'm only bothered about this stuff. So this we call as like infrastructure as a services. So because I'm getting this infrastructure with the help of that particular Amazon console, etc. here. Now I'm a rich guy. I would like to upload a few more risks to the vendors. So including servers, database, security, and all these things. Don't worry. The cloud service provider is having another service called PaaS. Definitely, when I say rich means definitely they are little expensive. So it's only that applications I'll be developing. I have a development team. Applications I will be developing and deploying into the cloud platform. Everything is managed by the vendor there, including hardware, OS, database, software, security, everything here. So those kind of services definitely comparatively with IaaS little expensive, but again, you have other flexibility, right? In case we don't have time to develop this entire model and design the architecture and all these things, then you are free to use this PaaS kind of services. The other services is SaaS services, software as a services. So here, you might have heard about like serverless architecture. I mean, I will go and inform my Azure or Amazon or Alibaba saying that, hey, I'm going to, this is my code, this is my database script schema. So please go ahead and install this stuff. Now I'm not worried what kind of database servers it is going to provide me, host me, and deploy me. Same thing with web servers, same with app servers and everything here. It's all based on the usage and all this stuff. So I don't need to worry about anything else. How many machines tomorrow? If it is utilization increases, or it has to be scaled up and scaled down. All this stuff, everything is taken care by the cloud service providers. In those cases, yeah, my risk is now shifted to the vendors. So definitely towards SaaS services, value visibility to end users will be increasing. Definitely, right? Yeah, and at the same time, when we what do you call go from IaaS to SaaS services, so the technologies or the domain experts which is required is not needed in the SaaS band of model, so that we can use those people in other domains or some other value add business. So very high level, this is all about SaaS and PaaS and IaaS model. Coming back to Amazon, the history is that 94, it was not initially a technology company. It was incorporated in 94. It was, I think, online booksellers and then online video cassettes company until 99, I guess. In 2000, he created a team within the organizations to go ahead and research, because those days data centers were working on a model called AMC model. So you take your own server and host it, and then you pay me rent for the space. Similarly, vice versa. So likewise, it is to work in those days. So that is exactly when just Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, what he has done is, so he said, hey, I've created my own data centers and all this stuff. You don't need to come to me and pay me annual maintenance charges for hosting a server or using my existing infrastructure. So better you log in through a portal, start using it. It's again passive pay as you go model. You don't need to again pay me the entire fixed charges for annually or monthly likewise. So I need 100 machines or 1,000 machines per 1 hour, per 12 hours. So it's only for 2 hours is what actually you'll be paying. Later, if you shut down and you discard all these things, that will not be paid. I mean, it's a pay-as-you-go model. So the companies that don't have so much budget to start their own data centers and all these things, for them it is the best option. And also later, a lot of other companies also started moving to the cloud platform. Not only Amazon, Azure, Alibaba, based on all these advantages it is having. This is all about the history about Amazon. So later it came, Amazon Fresh came, Amazon, what do you call it, New came, Amazon Echo came. As we progress in a lot of Amazon things actually evolving in the market. So before we get into AWS core infrastructure and services, so we might be heard about all these traditional infrastructure components such as firewalls, routers, on-prem servers. In Amazon language, it is the nature is same. It's only that there are some changes here. So we have some security groups. We have some ELB load balancers. We have AMI. We have elastic block storages, S3, RDS. So why are we calling as web services here? Anyone want to comment on that? Why are we calling as web services?
Because we use it over web.
Yeah, so they're all available over HTTP protocol mostly. That's the reason, like the AWS name was derived from that. And then why they configured so many data centers, so many different things in different countries. They can all set up at one place, right? Any reason for that?
Avoiding shutdowns, complete shutdown.
Okay, point of failure. One point of failure. Yeah. What else?
Redundancy.
Latency reduction.
Redundancy reduction. Okay.
Customers are spanned across the world.
Yeah. Also, to meet the regulatories. So, for example, might be knowing, right? In 2020, I think RBI clearly told that any operations, financial transactions happening over India has to run on this land only. Because already this law was there in US and other countries, but I'm giving you that example. So in those cases, if somebody BFSI banking sector model, if they want to go on cloud, they cannot use a data center, which is placed in a different continent. It has to be on this land only. Similarly, US, similarly other countries. So to meet those regulatories also, these kind of cloud companies configured multiple data centers. So they have their own name. We'll talk about that later. So if somebody asks me what are the advantages of this cloud paying, this one is capital expenditures that can be avoided. And in case if there is a boost in our demand economy and all these things, we ought to scale it up. So we have all the advantages. Also, I no need to now guess the capacity and invest the hardware in setting up my data center so that it can meet the future demand. So we're wasting a lot of money and all this thing, right? Space and all this thing. But that can be avoided now. At the same time, increased speed and agility. So when I say speed and agility, I want to, go global. So I want to expand my business to South Africa. Let's say that I'm a e-commerce company. So if I use cloud company, right, then I can immediately go ahead and use some South Africa data centers and then start, deploying the applications. It's that speed and you have all that agility, and also AMC is avoided, and this is all about the global limits we just now discussed. It. So when we talk about AWS, it's all actually helping the businesses and also all the technology people like developers, engineers, so that we don't need to now break our head in case if something goes wrong with the infrastructure and all this stuff. So you have also some ready-made sophisticated services also available, which will really reduce the time taking to go to the market. TTM I'm talking about. And storage you don't need to worry about now. They have unlimited storage, etc. So when 2006 or 7 when they started with I think 2 services. By any chance, and by any one of you know what are the first service they started? So,
Did it try EC2 by any chance?
no, EC2 is not the first.
Okay.
Storage, I guess.
Not really. Actually, it was SNS. So they started with the notification services, and of course storage. I think the second part. So second. So when they started with the in 2006 and 7, and they started with those 2 services, but as they progressed, they started adding a lot of services. They started expanding their businesses. Initially, it was only in 1 or 2 cities in US, but they started expanding their setting up, investing and setting up their data centers across the globe. So we'll talk about that little while in a while. Otherwise, when I prepared the slides, I mean, it was having around close to 2,420 services and features. Now, somebody actually asked me in the past that now which one is having highest services, whether Azure or AWS. See, the Gartner magazine clearly is showing that top right quadrant. So both Amazon and Azure equally competing with each other. So don't think that you have these services only in Amazon. Don't have your services only in Azure. If you have a service in Azure now, it will be available in Amazon in a week or 10 days. Similarly, vice versa. So they are neck to neck competing with each other. I read somewhere Amazon was investing around maybe subject to correction 4 million worth of USD every day in buying the hardware and expanding their data centers across the globe. The same thing with Azure also, because when they came into the market in 2013, I guess, 12 and 13. So they invested around close to 15 billion just to make that an Azure product. So Amazon also, when I don't know what was the number when they started, 2006 and 7, but there was interesting discussion happened with them because I was in Microsoft campus. So I met with one of their leader in the stuff. So so when I asked 15 billion, do we think that Azure will make that money? So what the answer was that answer was they don't want to compete with other cloud service providers. They just want not to lose their existing customers, mostly the servers, Windows servers clients, to some other cloud companies. So if they convert their existing customers are using Windows machines, could be VM or bare metal, migrate to the cloud, they'll make that money. So that's what their goal when they started that business. And when also when I met with the Amazon guy, he was telling me that I'm the leader, definitely. You cannot, come. No one is near to me. Suppose, for example, if you add all my customer base count. So, for example, Azure might be having some clients, right? Google will be having some clients. So you'll get a number when you sum up them. You multiply that number with 5, you'll get one more number. Even that number is also less than my current client base. So that is what Amazon claimed. Of course, it looks like it is correct, the data. Even Azure guys also, they accepted the challenge. So that's the reason they said, no, we don't want to compete with Amazon. But anyway, there's a different business story, business dynamics. But I thought I share that thing with you. Useful. So basically, on-demand sales services here, there'll be no intervention, all this stuff. So everyone can go ahead and start using all these services by logging to the console. Whenever you need, wherever you want, which place, and wherever the data centers I'm talking about, it's all available. It's an access through control panel. So all the clear solutions available through variety of different network connected devices. From the IAS part, etc. So the naming conventions, what they given is the AWS global infrastructure, nothing but the entire Amazon data centers. One is the region. So it's basically a geographical location. For example, in India, they have in Mumbai, the presence is Mumbai. So when I prepared, it was having only 2 available zones, but now it is 3. But what is available zone here? So in Mumbai, they configured earlier 2 data centers, now 3 data centers. It is basically a physical building where all the infrastructure and everything is placed. So just for the confidentiality, they generally don't mention that this is Amazon data centers. So you probably will be passing next to that building, but you really don't know that it is actually Amazon data center. That's a security thing. But otherwise, in Mumbai, they have 3 available zones, probably one in north, one in south, one might be in eastern side. Yeah, it's all based on the strategic locations and all this thing. They used to install and deploy sticks. And all these available zones in Mumbai, they're all connected with each other, clustered. Basically, we call it like cluster data centers. So why they have set up multiple available gens in one region. One is isolated from failures. If any one of the available zone goes down, the other will serve the business. Similarly, vice versa. So across the globe, they have multiple regions. So for example, one in Singapore, and then one in California, one in East Coast. I mean, I'm just giving you roughly Paris, London. So each city, they have different available zones based on the business need, based on the exactly the expanding something, all stuff. So region and available zones are not constant. So I think now it's around close to 20, 23, 24 regions it seems they have, and close to 60 available zones they have. So at least 2 available zones will be there in each region. When these slides were prepared in North Virginia, they have around close to 5 AZs, all cluster data centers. In ASPAC, here they have around close to 3. Tokyo, I think, and ASPAC, not 3 available zones they have. This is just as I said in a conceptual diagram only. The AZs may vary based on the business, based on the future recommendations. It can reduce or it can increase. So as I said, like they're all clustered for high availability. All these multi-AZ deployments also possible. On all these platforms, so they have the global infrastructure which are connected. They have this infrastructure components called computing, storage, databases, and then you will be seeing a lot of new services called PaaS services. Some of them are SaaS services, etc. Here. Apart from this thing, they also have one more thing in their basket that is called edge locations. So these actually edge locations are CDN points, content data network endpoints for the cloud front. What do you mean by that? For example, let's say in YouTube, mostly Indian users are accessing Indian content. Now, in case, let's take a scenario where you don't have any servers in India, it's all there in US. So there'll be a lot of latencies when you're accessing all these things. To reduce these things, what YouTube can do, they can set up one cache server somewhere in India at a gateway, so that all the frequently accessed videos of Indian content can be now supplied from this particular cache location. So it will be caching that stuff. The same stuff is available in Amazon. We call as like CloudFront CDN. It's a very big stuff. But anyway, I'm just trying to introduce this thing. And networking, these are all the services they have. Computing, these are the services. A storage point of view, these are the services. Database, yes, these are all like PaaS services. And foundations, these are all foundation services. PaaS services, cloud computing. I'm just skipping this thing because Amazon, it's okay. We're not discussing in Amazon topics, right? So now let's get into the AWS console part. So any questions before we move on and further than this? Take my. So if you don't have an AWS account, by the way, I'll tell you, AWS is offering you one AWS free tier account to you. Show you what are the offerings they have. So you can go ahead and create an account. A master Visa card is needed. Think for validation purposes, 2 rupees will be debited, which will be refunded after a couple of days. So when we have an account, it is free for 12 months. And so these are the services within 12 months we can use. For example, if you want to spin up some machines, 750 hours in a month, if it is up and running, they'll not charge you. But if it is exceeding, it will be charged to you. Similarly, S3, 5GB, etc. From our DevOps point of view, mostly we'll be using this EC2 and S3, so I'm not going to discuss all the services for now. So this machine, so let's say I spin up 5 machines now, and then if it is running for 1 day, so it will be 524. So the quota out of 750 hours, so that much hours will be burnt. And if you shut down that machines, it will not be charged. So it's only that uptime is what they will consider. And they will not charge you for spinning up a machine and terminating a machine. So that is also not there. So for information on that. So there will be no charges on that. So similarly, if you look at the storage point of view, 5 GB, it is more than enough. And also you'll be using few more services. Mostly all the free services will be using. So after 1 year, what we do with this account? Close the account. That's it, as simple as that. Can I open one more account? Yeah, you need one more email address. If you want, you can open one more account. As simple as that. But whereas in Azure and Google Cloud, you don't have this kind of facility. That's a different story. So that is also free, 12 months free, but 300 USD kind of dollars will be credited into that account, which you cannot withdraw. So you can use all the services which is provided by Amazon, Google. So even if you use any services, there will be no free day services. It's all burned from the quota. Once the entire quota is exhausted, again, no need to recharge, refuel. But Amazon is working in different style, which is good for us. You can go ahead and create a free account. I told you mobile number and address book and all these things will be asked when we go ahead and create an account. So once that was applied, you'll be getting a IVR call. Punch that number. Again, payment and all this thing has to be done. Credit card, I told you, right? Master Visa is only accepted. 2 rupees will be debited just to validate that card is linked. Now, why they need that card is that in case if you use any paid services, anyway, they'll be giving you a message that they saying that, hey, this is not a free service. Yeah, so in spite of that, if you use it, it will be charged to your card. That will not be debited directly from your card. They'll be generating invoice and they'll be sharing that invoice with you end of month. So you need to pay within June. Some people ask me that, no, I don't want to pay everything. I want to close the account. Yeah, it's not a good practice. So we are all professionals. So just in case, I generally pay in case if I miss a pay. If I know that I'm using this service and it is charged to me, I'll pay. The charges are very less comparatively. So it's okay, just in case you want to use this. Fine. So please create an account today itself. And then do this exercise, what we are going to discuss now. So I have my own account. I'm trying to log into that account.
Raghu, do you need to give time for the users to create one? Do they need to have them handy right now?
Oh yeah, it's a good point. Yes. So please, if you want, I'll give you like in a few minutes. So please go ahead and create an account, everyone. You can probably use your Gmail account and anything is fine. Up to you. Go ahead and create an account. So you can also use your debit card also. It's not that only credit card, but yeah, only Master Visa. RuPay is not accepted. Also try to give the correct address. Randomly, they may ask you to provide address proof later. That's the reason. Try to give the correct address. And also in 1 week time, you will get a welcome call from them. So in case if they ask you, I can mention that, no, yeah, you're just exploring the Amazon services. You're a student, you're learning something like that. So let me know if you are anyone facing any.
Guys, was everyone able to create the account?
Raghu, I have created my free account and last company itself it got expired also. What can I do?
You can create one more. So you have one more email address?
I have one more email address, but the credit card, can I use the same?
Yeah. Amazon is very generous in that. Unlike Azure and Google, they don't allow you to use the same card. But yeah, Amazon is generous. You can use. So and also if you have an account, make sure that it is not what do you call that? 1 year is not over completed, because you'll not be seeing any differences. So you'll not be seeing any differences in case if you start using any services. What will happen, right? It will be charged. It is not the free tier quota will be over. Yeah. So just make sure that it is within that 1 year period.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done, Raghu.
Okay, nice. So now once you created an account, just log into the AWS. So by default, your account is not validated yet. So you cannot use the account until it is validated. So it has to be done by the executive. I'll show you how to, what do you call, speed up that process. So otherwise the SLA is like 6 hours to 24 hours. So anytime they will just validate your account. So on the top right hand side, you can go to your support options, go to support center. So this is for the people who just now created an account, how to validate. Activate otherwise in a domain. So just you need to create an case, just saying that please activate my account here. So go to the support center. And click on create a case. So you can choose this option, account and billing, first one. And under this particular case details, probably you can go to account and activation. Type is account, category is activation. Subject, you can just mention activate. Description also, we can DevOps thing. Like this. Then submit the case, bottom right. So you have three options again. So if you choose chat, immediately pop-up will come. If you choose 4, immediately you will get an incoming call. So they are very quick in terms of providing support, irrespective of whether you are using free tier or not. So I like that service. So choose chat option if you don't want to receive any call. So a pop-up will be opened, and one executive will help you to activate your account immediately. So I'm just canceling all this thing because my account is already activated. Yeah. So let me know if any one of you activated the account. Yeah. So is anyone done with activation and all this stuff?
So I did a live chat session. They say that few of the services will get activated in 24 hours.
Oh, is it? Okay. Fine. I mean, that will actually there's the standard SLA, but generally they
Okay.
used to activate the ASAP. Yeah. So what I'll do, like, so in case if you all activated your, I mean, created an account, I'll just demonstrate. So how to navigate this console, and then what are the different services we have, and then we will try to deploy one Linux machine today. Yeah, is that fine?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, yeah. So on the top right hand side, you will be seeing this regions here. So you have a lot of regions. I think close to 24 regions we have. So the reason I have chosen in Mumbai because yeah, we are currently located in India, so there will be no latency issue. So that is the only reason I have chosen Mumbai. Otherwise, you can choose any other region, and so there will be no change in terms of retired service eligibility, and even enterprise model also there will be no changes in terms of commercial and etc. So just for latency issue, to avoid latency, because I'm near to this place, so that's the reason I've chosen Mumbai. So I request everyone to choose Mumbai only because otherwise, you'll be having some latency issues. And this is about your account details. So your account number, in case if it is company account, my organization details, my service quota, billing dashboard. Just in case if you receive any billing, you'll be having all the details on this dashboard, and then based on the um, retail code and all this, because sometimes because I'm a power user, I generally use some paid services as well. So I used to get some here and there, but I used to clear all those bills here. Otherwise, this is where you can check it out your free tier service usage. So for example, this is my EBS storage. This 30 GB is what actually the free type quota. This much I have used. And you can also configure some alerts and notifications, but it's not needed in case you're not a power user. And you can also change your billing dashboard by going there, and if you want to change your credit card and all this stuff. So that also there on the left hand side. So you can go to your credit card sections, cost and center, everywhere, bills and everything. So that you can change at any point of time once the account is activated. And yeah, you see, as soon as I've selected the billing dashboard, this changed to global. The reason is this particular billing dashboard is not restricted to one region, right? So it's a global invoice in case if it is generated. And top left hand side, we have these services. So this is where we'll be spending a lot of our time. So when I click on these services, you have a lot of services available. Of course, we are not using all these services. We are not expert. We're not learning AWS here. Yeah, from DevOps point of view, we will be using only a couple of services. Now, you can go ahead and select this EC2 under computing section. Abbreviation of EC2 is Elastic Cloud Computing or Elastic Computer Cloud. You can call up anything on that. So EC2, there's two C's on that. Now, what do you mean by computing? We know computing means mostly like server and all these things. Cloud computing also we just now learned because it's on-demand, pay-as-you-go model. We call it like cloud services. What do you mean by elastic? Is that at any point of time you can scale up the machine or scale down the machine. So, for example, I want to increase the RAM. I want to increase the CPU. I want to increase some capacity. Etc. So all that is possible with this like AWS organic. So that's the reason they just prefix that name as Elastic. So most of the services will be having this naming convention called Elastic actually. So by default, if I deploy any machines and all these things, it will be deployed into one VPC. We call it like virtual private cloud in Mumbai, which will be having some internet access and all that stuff. So by default, one region will be having one VPC. Now with this dashboard, you can see that there are no machines running here because I have not spinned up any machines, etc. So let me just scroll down. So this is a launch instance option is available, and this is Mumbai. And these are all the different available zones as of now available in Mumbai. All in Mumbai, all these zones 1A, 1B, 1C, all the services are now all these runs right now operating normally is what actually it is displaying the status. Means there is no maintenance, there is no downtime. All services which are available in Mumbai are active, up and running without any issues. This is like health dashboard. You can get into details also at any point of time. So I'm going to deploy my first machine now. So you can click on launch instance and select this launch instance option. So you'll be routed to this page. This is where the machine image, the OS I'm talking about, so it will be available. So what we are really doing here in Mumbai, we are taking this image, deploying into a hardware machine. As simple as that. That is what actually we are trying to do now. Can be in hardware, it can be a virtual machine. That's a different story. But yep, that is very high level. We are trying to deploy this OS image into a machine. So under this, a lot of images are there. These are all free type. That means if I use this image, there is no charges. Few images are not free type because the commercials involved, licenses. This is Microsoft Windows 2019. So I guess probably Amazon have an agreement with Microsoft saying that we will pay you some license cost because we are using your image. So some images are free, like Red Hat, SUSE, Amazon Linux, Ubuntu, etc., etc. This is all under a quick start. Left hand side, we also have AMIs. In case your company having any AMIs, mostly companies will be having their own AMIs because they generally don't use these public AMIs. So all these things, or you create your own AMIs, so it will be listed here. And this is about marketplace where from third party, we can buy some images which is having some licensed products, softwares, etc. And this is community AMIs, free AMIs shared by some communities, open source. For example, Kubernetes. So there's a Kubernetes image will be available. Likewise. So here we are right now trying to deploy the first one, Amazon Linux. Mostly we'll be using this image and then Red Hat or Ubuntu Windows as well. The reason is because they are easy to learn, easy to install, easy to configure. We are not here to learn Linux or all that stuff, no? So we are here trying to learn DevOps tools. That's the reason. So we will be using this Amazon Linux. Select this image, 64-bit Amazon Linux. The second window or tab, it'll be asking you now that configuration details, machine details. So out of all these machines, only this one is free. So I'll be going with this one only. Otherwise, you see a lot of machines based on your capacity, CPU, memory, intensive network performance, etc. Only T2 micro is free. So I'm okay with this. I'm going with this. Bottom right, next. How many you want? I just need one machine. That's enough. And then this is what the network VPC is talking about, right? So if I deploy machine in this VPC, I don't need to do any changes in terms of getting internet access to the server, etc. So it is, everything is configured. This is the default VPC. Let it be. I'm not doing any changes on this particular screen. Bottom right, next, storage. So the storage section says that, okay, you're going to deploy a machine by copying an image there, but how much storage you want? So because that machine is not having any storage. So apart from OS installation and everything. So I just said, okay, I'm done with 8 GB. That is more than enough for now. So what kind of GB2 that is enough, and delete and termination. So in case if I'm done with this exercise, I want to terminate the machine. What should I do with the storage? I'm saying that delete it. I don't need any data which is stored on the storage as well. So let it be. Bottom right next. So tagging is what? In case if it is in real time environment, I want to tag it as like web server or application server, database server, or production server. So that tomorrow, if I want to filter it out, I want to get all the so and so services based on the so and so category, I can get it easily. Right now, I'm not doing anything. So the next one is security group. It is like your firewall to the node level, at the server level. So here I'm saying that I'm selecting existing security group, which I already have one group, wherein I open all the traffic to the server. What do you mean by that? I mean, how many ports will we have one to one machine? 2 to the power of 16, 65,535. 6x5 here in this case. So all these ports by default will not be open. So that will be the reason, just in case if I install, let's say, web server, if you want to access it from outside, you'll be not able to do that because it is protected. I mean, firewall protected. So in this case, I just use default where I have done all these ports are open here. The bottom right, review and launch. So just make sure now we don't choose any paid step. G2 micro is enough. So bottom right, launch. So when I'm trying to launch, there is a security pop-up will come. So there will be two keys. One key will be with Amazon. We call as a public key. One key will be private key. It is like your locker, bank locker. So two keys will be there. No? So similarly like this thing. So you have to download this key, keep it with you, which will help you to connect to the machine going forward. So if I don't have this key, I'll be not able to connect to the machine. That is the bottom line. Any questions on this thing? In case you are new to the this particular stuff, just let me know if you have any questions on that. Okay, yeah, I think most of you might aware of all this thing. So that's the reason I assume that no, you don't have any questions. So create a new key pair. Right. So just asking you give a name. So I'm just giving a name. So it will be easy for me. Otherwise, I'll be deploying a lot of keys, right? Download key pair. So you could see a PEM format file is downloaded, which I can use it to connect to the server by converting into PPK. So I have to convert to the PPK because it will require to convert to PPK. PEM is not not recognized by the machine. But if you're having a Ubuntu and Mac machines, you don't need to convert anything. That's a different story. Now I'll have a question to the people who already having knowledge on AWS and working. So is this key can I use multiple times in the same region or a different region to spin up a new machine? Yeah, anyone can answer.
Yes.
So question is, can I
Can
use the same key multiple times in the same region and different region? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Answer is partially yes. The reason is I cannot use the same key in another region. For example, if I go from Mumbai to Singapore, if I try to deploy a machine using the same key, no, I cannot. It is a region specific. Within the same region, I can use the same key any number of times. So in real time, what client will do? Client will store all these keys in a vault, right? Secure place. So bottom right now launch the machine. So I'm just spinning up the machine. So it is now spinning up. Now by bottom right view instructions. So we could see now it is spinning up. Just naming it as web server. So it is not just taking time. So meanwhile, to connect to a Linux machine, what we need? We need Putty. So in case if you don't have that, right, please go to putty.org portal. So click on this Putty, download Putty. You'll be routed to this Putty section. Scroll down the page and you have this 64-bit putty.exe. Just download that. Already have, that's the reason I'm not downloading. Also because I need to convert that PEM key to PPK, no? So there's a conversion kit is there. This one, 64-bit putty. So you need to download both Putty Gen and as well as Putty. So if it is a corporate laptop also, you don't need to install anything. So you can download and keep it on your machine as a self-extractable file. So now I am launching that Putty Gen, which will help me to convert the PEM to PPK. Because I already have this thing, I am not downloaded. I launched this tool called Putty Key Generator. Click on this load option and download that bottom right, all files. This is this thing. Done. So it is loaded into this key, this tool. So now click on save private key, bottom, say yes. So you can just give a name to the file. I'm just giving the same name. I no need to suffix any name, ppk, let it be. We can't say this option. That's it. So one-time activity. In case you're having a Mac laptop or a Linux or Ubuntu laptop, you don't need to do this thing. It's just only for Windows. So now I'll go back to my Amazon. This is my machine. So by default, it is having a public IP. Now, what do you mean by public IP? My private IP. Yeah. Any questions on that, or anyone can answer that? So, difference between a public IP and a private IP.
Public IP is routable through over internet, whereas private IP is not routable over internet.
Yeah, by default, generally, you will only be having private IP in your office data centers and all this. So they will not be having public IP because public IP is, first of all, very expensive to procure that and then maintain that. And then generally it is not recommended to use any other server except the frontline servers. Frontline servers means public facing, web servers, etc. So in this case, I told you we have a data center VPC in Mumbai. So by default, it is having a configuration that you'll get a public IP inside the Mumbai VPC. So this is a public IP I copied. I launched now putty.exe. So you just need to inform that that this is a public IP, and you have a private key, right, which is PPK. You want to supply that, otherwise you'll be not able to connect to the machine. So on the left hand side, bottom left hand side, expand SSH, select the authentication option, browse for that key. So every time I don't want this to supply, can we save this thing? Yes, you can. So what what we can do is like, you can first of all go to the colors. I want to change this to white background, so use system color. Go to appearance, just changing the font size a little bit, like 14 size and bold. And go to sessions. So I want to save this session with file name or today name, whatever. So that tomorrow when I come back, I don't need to do all these configurations to be supplied, etc. Just will launch and connect it. And also the ideal time, in case if it is ideal, it generally is to disconnect the server. So I don't want to do anything like that. So changing this value as well. So let me try to connect to this server now. So it's saying view, etc. Yes. Username is easy to hyphen user. Now where will I get this username? So if you, this is the machine you connect, right? You just see connect option. When you click on this connect option, here this is where you'll be seeing the username. So for Ubuntu will be there. For some XYZ server, Linux server, it is there. I mean, how to log into Windows, that is a different topic. We'll discuss that later. So I logged into my machine, my first machine. So in case if you are new to Linux, I want to practice this Linux. So what you can do during this weekend, we are new to Linux. So just start studying this very basic commands. Linux cheat sheet. Can go to anyone. I generally use this to the people who are new to Linux. So not all commands may not work in all these flavors. Otherwise, this is just to warm up your knowledge in the Linux part. So spend some time going through this very basic Linux commands. We don't want any Linux administrator here in DevOps area, but just to be in touch with that. Okay. Any questions so far?
Hi Raghu. So I have one question. If MKey we have downloaded, can we share this to another one so that they can also access?
Yes. Yeah. So they have to have this key. They have to also have the public IP.
Okay, so we can share this key.
Yes. To log into this server, you don't need to have an account.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay. Now, we logged in using UC-type user, so which is not a root user, basically a non-power administrator user. So you cannot do anything like installation, etc., here. So that's the reason that we are here to install some software packages, etc. So we need root access. So you can do one thing. You can suffix or sorry, prefix sudo to each command so that it can go ahead and execute, but it's not very comfortable. So you can also switch to root. People generally do that. Sudo space SU. Now you are a root administrator. Who am I? I'm a root user. Okay, so we logged in to the machine and we switched to the root. So today we'll just take only I have only one more topic. That's it. I'll not actually spend too much time because it's the first day. I know a little exhausted today because it's just a theoretical, right? But anyway, worry we will be spending a lot of practical sessions only going forward. Initially, we have to cover this a lot of topics. No, that is. Okay, so we switch to root now. What you also know, apart from going through all these commands, you also try to spend about this command called yum. So a lot of packages, what Amazon done is because you are using Amazon Linux, they placed on a repository and said you it is already mounted to the server. If you want, you can go ahead and install. Sorry, typo. So when I do yum space repo list, it is just listing me all the repositories available and broken part and all the stuff here. So we could see there are two repositories which is provided by Amazon. Amazon Linux to Amazon external repo for Docker. Can I also configure any other repository? Yes, if you have all this stuff, you can go ahead and configure. I mean, repository. Suppose, let's say I want to install Jenkins. Jenkins, I think it is not available in any of this repository. So I have to configure the Jenkins repository. I mean, sorry. Jenkins repository. Yeah, I configured Jenkins repository manually. So what we'll do, we will try to install one package today. I'll show you how to navigate the package and RPM package. So inside this two repository, yum list, trying to list all the packages. List is very big. Should list all the RPMs available in the current repository. I would like to filter it out by package name called HTTPD. I'm saying that the list is very big. Pipe grep HTTPD. So please filter for a word called HTTPD and list all those lines wherever this word is available. So now I can see that the package called HTTP..8064-bit is available. So let me go ahead and install. Yum install. Yum install this one. It's saying that this why this name it is not that. Why don't you use only HTTP? So when I try to install, it is saying that no, hey, you're trying to install HTTPD, but these are all the dependencies which is missing. I'm trying to install all the dependencies as well. Is that okay with you? Is the question. Okay, Y means yes, install. Okay, capital means no, just don't install. What do you mean by D? Anyone want to answer? Already working in Linux platform. So Y means install. N means no. What do you mean by D? No. Okay. So yeah, N means don't install. That is fine. Y means also yeah, install the software. So D means don't install the dependencies. Just install only the main package. If I really know what I'm doing, I'll use this command. So why? The package is installed from Amazon repository. So now I'll ask a question. So who placed this HTTPD software on Amazon repository? So the reason is why I'm asking this question. In real time, we are generally not supposed to use any packages available in any other repository until unless it is company proprietary repository. So otherwise public stuff you have to use only repositories or the packages directly downloaded from the original source code, open source. Because really we don't know what kind of plugins they have, what kind of modules they would have bundled and stuffed inside that. Is it according to our company standard? So you'll be having all these challenges, no? So that's the reason you generally not supposed to install any packages from the third party. Now, how do you develop a source code? That talk about in the coming session. But for now, we installed this HTTPD, web services. So after that, I'm going to start the service HTTPD space start. So service HTTPD start ps-ef5 So it says that service is up and running. Now I can access the website. So you can take the public IP, go here and punch in the browser. So we got the test page, right? Because it's a public IP, now you can access from anywhere. Right? So that's all from my side today. Any questions from anyone of you? So is it too fast or too slow? You want me to accelerate? Please let me know. Okay. So I assume that no silence is you're okay with the speed. Anyway, as we progress, we will try to jump to the next topic because topics will be a little bigger. So you have to be, a little, what we call, on top of that. Yeah, any other questions from anyone?
Yeah, Raghu, Yogesh here. Parallelly, we cannot practice, right? So since you are teaching.
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, because I thought this is just most of you know, I went little over speed, but going forward, it will be kind of like parallel. You can also practice.
Okay.
For example,
so it will giving a time for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
For example,
Thank you.
I'll ask you to write one cookbook. So then I'll give you some time, and then you can write a cookbook.
Sure.
Okay, so I expect that by next class, by Monday, make sure that everyone is having AWS account in case if you have not yet created, and then everyone account is validated. Also, you have deployed a machine, a Linux machine, and connected to that machine. So this recordings anyway will be there to you. So just in case if you're stuck with any step and all this thing, just quickly navigate the video and see where are you missing in providing putty configuration, etc. So you can also practice all these Linux questions at any point of time. So for example, what I'm doing is I'm going to my Amazon console. I'm selecting this my server because we just learned that no, it is available only for 750 hours. I don't want to waste that particular thing because I'm done with my exercise. I can select this machine, click on action. My bad. Go to instance state. Yeah, there's a UI change actually recently. Yeah, go to instance state. Click on stop instance. This will stop the machine. You could say successfully stop these things. And tomorrow when you come back and you want to do exercises again, select the machine, again go to instance state and start the machine. But remember one thing, when you start the machine, you will not get the same IP because this is a dynamic IP. What do you mean by dynamic IP is, what Amazon done is, they bought some public IPs from Internet Authority. So whenever it comes, because anyway we are pre-tier quota, so we spin it up, you'll get a IP from the pool. And as soon as you shut down that, it will be released and it will go back to the pool. So that's the reason I'm saying you will not get the same IP. So when you don't get the same IP, what do you do? Simply the putty configuration will change the IP. That's it. So here, just change the IP. The remaining thing is you come here, 7th May. I mean, this is profile I just saved, right? Launch here, and you get the old IP. It's change this to new IP. Click on open. That's it. You'll be able to connect to the machine. So that will be the exercise for you for the weekend. And once you're done with that, you go to the Linux cheat sheet, which we just now discussed, right? Any Linux friend and visit, try to practice all the very basics in case you are new to the Linux environment. And then install the web server by going through the recording and the video and start the server and see if we can access the web page. Okay, so we'll catch up next Monday. I guess session is next Monday, and I just would like to see if everyone completed all those exercises. Then we'll proceed to the next topics. Yeah, I think some of you already am working on this platform, right? So it will be easy. So just internally coordinate among yourself, just in case if you need any help, and they'll try to help you. Okay, so that's all from my end today. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Raghu.
Thank you, Mahesh.
Yes. Thank you so much, Raghu.
Thank you, Raghu.
Thank you.
Thank you.